Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Peter. In this video I'll dive into an issue that you probably know all too well, and the issue being that the first couple of shots of the day are slower and lower than what it was the day before. I'm not going to show you how to fix this issue, but I'm going to show you how to get around it. So that's why I've chosen to call it the Viking Hack. The main reason for this issue is your regulator, and if you have heard about creep, I want to explain you what it is. It is that when you leave your gun for a longer period of time without shooting it, the regulator pressure will actually increase, and that affects the velocity as you start to shoot it. But I'll get much deeper into that after I've shown you the method itself. It is time to see how much the velocity has dropped since last night. I shot the gun at around 8 o'clock and now it's around 10 in the AM, so a good 14 hours of rest. Before finishing up my session last night, I shot 8 shots and this was the result. It had a spread of 7 and the lowest velocity was 888 feet per second and the fastest velocity was 895. Standard deviation of 2.6. So what we need to establish now is how much the velocity has dropped since last night. And one last info is the regulator was last night at 104 and now it's at 107. So a slight creep, which would indicate that there might be a drop in velocity. But I'll start up and turn on the camera down at the target. It's not because the accuracy in this test is like the most important thing, but anyway, I'll just turn it on for reference. Okay, with everything turned on, I'm ready to shoot, and I'm just gonna keep shooting until I hit the lowest velocity from yesterday. So what we're aiming for is 888 feet per second or faster. And by some kind of miracle, I managed not to turn on the camera at the target. But anyway, I'll show you the result after the shooting.
875.
Not much of a drop.
$875. 886. 895.
Okay, so the fourth shot was past the 888 feet per second and actually at the maximum velocity from yesterday at 895. And looking at the accuracy from leaving the gun overnight, I would say it's pretty okay. And just for your information, this is the group that I shot last night. It's perhaps 15 shots, so not all too bad. Okay, now it's time to reveal the method, the Viking Hack. I've made sure to replicate the actions of today exactly as I did to the test I did yesterday. So I started out yesterday shooting a couple of groups. This is one of them, again 12-15 shots, and then I made this shot string of 8 shots, and it's exactly the same as it was the day before. So same average, same high, same low, and almost the same standard deviation. Temperature is the same. Last night it was 14 degrees, right now it's 19. It's 10 o'clock once again, so as much as possible I have been replicating. Regulator, as I shot yesterday, was at 104 and now it has had a slight creep, so it's once again at 107. So this indicates that the first shot of the day would be around 875 if I did not use the Viking Hack. But since I intend to do that, I really hope that I'll change that. So now I'll turn on my Crony, turn up the volume, and get ready to shoot. And what I'll do, of course I haven't touched the gun since shooting last night at all, but the one thing I'll do is that I will increase the tension of the hammer spring by 1 click on the power wheel. So let's see what kind of difference it does. Remember that we're aiming for a shot that is as close to the velocity range that I shot yesterday, so above 888 feet per second. So let's see. It's definitely more than it was yesterday, so I'll give it one more shot. So now I'm within the velocity range of yesterday, so I'll turn down the power wheel by 1 click again. And that is how simple it is. So instead of using 4 shots with a 20 feet per second spread, I've lowered it to 3 shots and with a 7 feet per second spread, as it was when I was shooting the gun last night. So that's the Viking Hack. Let's dive a bit deeper into this method. As you saw, my first shot was at 884 feet per second in this test, but if it had dropped more than that, I would have considered to turn up the power wheel by 2 clicks instead of 1. And then after that, gradually turning it down. So using the same method, when the gun then hits the top of the velocity range, in this situation around 895, I would have given it 1 click down and then continued until I turned it down by 2 clicks and gotten the velocity that I was aiming for. It's not uncommon to have a first shot that is like 30 feet per second below your average velocity, but if it's much more than that, it is a good idea to pay attention to the regulator. And a creep of, say, 3 to 5 bar is okay, or it's acceptable, but if it gets much more than that, it is a very good idea to service your regulator, and that means taking it out, inspecting the O-rings and looping the whole thing up again and putting it back in your gun. There are other ways to get around this issue of slow and low, and one of them is to dry fire your gun a couple of times. I've done that in the past, but I'm not really into this thing about dry firing my gun, so I much prefer this method that I developed myself. Some of you might ask, why does the velocity drop when the pressure on the regulator increases? And I've been wanting to giving you this explanation for quite a while, and it is going to be a bit technical, so if this all technical stuff is not for you, maybe you should just skip this part. But for this explanation, I need a few props. I need this book, and then I need Leo. Leo is the hammer, and we place him over here. The book is the valve, and right down here we have Johnny the Dragon. Johnny the Dragon weighs 104 kilos, and his job is to hold the valve in place, or this door in place. And when Leo takes his run here to hit this door, to open it, Johnny is holding it. So he is only allowing the door to open like this much for a certain amount of air to come through. And no matter how many times Leo does this, the same amount of air is being let through the door or the valve for the velocity to be stable. But it's Saturday night, and Johnny the Dragon likes to go down to the pub and have a few pints. So he has a few pints, and he meets a good mate of his, and he gets more than a couple of pints, and it actually turns into shots, and he gets totally hammered. So when he's supposed to get back to his job in the morning, he's of course super hangover, so he has to find a substitute. And that's where Brian the Bear comes. Brian the Bear is slightly bigger. He's 108, or maybe he's been on a diet. He's 107 kilos, and his job is now to hold the door. And here comes Leo. He weighs the same as yesterday, and when he comes riding like this, trying to open the door, hitting the valve, because Brian is bigger, the door doesn't open that much and not so much air comes through, so the velocity is lower. And as he keeps hitting the door, Brian is not having it. This is not his usual job. So as he gets tired of this, he says, screw this, I'm going home. And then Johnny the Dragon comes back, holds the door, and when Leo hits the valve or the door, the usual amount of air comes through, and we are back to the same velocity as we shot with yesterday. I know this explanation was a bit heavy, but I hope that you understood what I was trying to explain. But that brings us on to the last question of the video, and that is of course how to fix this issue, like for good, so that we don't need a hack. I would love to say that I have a 100% perfect solution for this, but when I was shooting my M3, I made this tuning video, and if you watch this and go to the advanced tune where I control the velocity with the front valve adjuster, that could be a solution, because it was so when I shot the M3, but sadly for some reason I haven't made this work in the M4. But I have had people saying that they couldn't get it to work in the M3, but it works in the M4. So if you are extremely keen to get completely rid of this issue, I would advise you to watch this video and give the advanced tune a go. But until then, I'm settling with the Viking Hack because it works pretty well for me. So that's all about it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and Johnny the Dragon and Brian the Bear and little Leo. So until next time, take care and shoot safe.